In today's countdown, we'll be exploring retail outlets that used to be the epitome of shopping, but are now distant memories. The list includes familiar names like Borders, Radio Shack, KB Toys, Sharper Image, and more. Welcome to a new video, where we'll be presenting our top 10 stores that don't exist anymore. Sports Authority. Like many retail outlets, Sports Authority was a casualty of the mid-21st century. Founded in 1928 by Nathan Gart, a series of mergers and acquisitions allowed Gart Sports to become the place for sporting goods in the United States. But by 2010, the tired retailer found it difficult to compete with the likes of Walmart and Amazon and began falling behind in its financials. By 2016, the company chose to close down and liquefy its assets. Its brand name and intellectual property ultimately ended up in the hands of its competitor, Dick's Sporting Goods. Wet Seal. If the 2010s taught businesses anything, it's that the shape of retail shopping is changing. Founded as Lawrence in 1962, this fashion retailer was incorporated as Wet Seal in 1990. They also sold their clothing and accessories under the Arden-B and Blink brands. By 2015, they were faced with heavy competition, forcing them to close several locations. Store windows could be seen with protest signs from employees over communication from managers and compensation. Wet Seal closed all stores in January 2017, another victim of the so-called retail apocalypse. As of January 2023, their website still says under construction. Tower Records. Long before the days of Spotify and Apple Music, people had to go into a store and purchase their music. Enter Tower Records. In their heyday, they were one of the largest retailers of music around the world. Based in the US, they spread to over a dozen countries worldwide. The movie Empire Records was even inspired by writer Carol Heikkinen's time as an employee there. Yet, with all that success, bad business decisions, and the launch of the digital music era killed off this giant in 2006. The brand did resurface as a website in 2020 and continues to sell music and merchandise online. CompUSA. When you hear the term big box store, you may think of IKEA, Walmart, and even Costco. One such player in this space was the now defunct computer store CompUSA. A purveyor of technology products, they were very similar to competitors like, say, Best Buy. And therein lies part of the problem. Their corporate strategies were out of touch, and they were destroyed by the competition. They were eventually sold to Systemax in 2008, and their last CompUSA stores were rebranded as Tiger Direct, which also phased out of retail in 2015. KB Toys. It was 1946 when brothers Harry and Joseph Kaufman opened their own candy store, aptly named Kaufman Brothers. That quickly turned into a wholesale toy company in 1948 and a shopping mall staple in 1973. In the 1990s, a series of additional acquisitions brought the company hundreds of new store locations, totaling 1,324 by 1999. But a combination of both a poorly timed dividend deal in 2002 and a drop in sales the following year sealed the company's fate. Neither a bankruptcy filing nor a restructuring of the company was enough to keep it afloat. They were eventually sold to their biggest competitor, Toys R Us, in 2009. Warner Bros. Studio Store. In 1991, Warner Brothers entered the retail space, selling the likes of Looney Tunes and DC Comic Books merchandise. Eventually opening 130 stores across the country, the chain thrived for a short time. However, the AOL-Time Warner merger was completed in 2001, and the newly formed company had new plans. With sales in decline and retail shops floundering in general, the newly formed conglomerate saw the writing on the wall. It took them less than a year to put the nail in the coffin of this chain when their last store closed on New Year's Eve, 2001. Payless Shoes. Much like many of the other stores on this list, Payless started with humble beginnings, only to fall victim to our ever-changing times. Formed in 1956 by cousins Louis and Shaul Poses, Payless became known for its own unique line of shoes called Pro Wings, as well as a plethora of other footwear-related products. Their expansion went far beyond the US, bringing their shoes as far away as Australia and Indonesia. But in the midst of the retail shift in 2010, Payless filed for bankruptcy twice, eventually shutting down all operations in North America. They do continue to operate stores in other parts of the world and online. Ames. Department stores have always been common in big cities. But when Ames opened up in 1958, they went after the retail market in much smaller populated areas. This led to a boom in business and expansion, which reached up to 327 stores. It did not, however, come without a cost. Poor decisions around consumer credit resulted in a bankruptcy filing in 1990. The company survived, and by 1993 was turning a profit again. But the success didn't last. By the turn of the century, Ames had begun closing many of its stores and filed a second bankruptcy in late 2001, which saw the end of this store. Or did it? Rumors of a reopening in 2023 have surfaced. Time will tell.